That's glorious morning to each and every one of you. I'm so grateful to be here. It is such a gift to give what some people would call a spiritual message or a sermon because it allows me to grow spiritually. I feel as though there is no way that me of myself is showing anyone the way, but Spirit is sharing the message with me, and then I share it with my brothers and sisters. So, welcome, welcome again. The talk today is called The Power of Commitment to God. The power of commitment to God. Throughout the last 6 months, I'd say maybe as of January, many of us have felt, and this is not political, so let me preface it. Thank you, Spirit. This is not political. This is not about your political standing and what party you voted for. It's really irrelevant. Human mind thinking, the ego, the smaller self will argue back and forth and say it's about politics. But I don't know about you, there's a frequency of what I'm calling, and this is not a new word, I would say the elders, the elders of religious and spiritual tradition use this word constantly, or this phrase. There is a spirit of confusion on the planet. There is a spirit of despair on the planet. There is a spirit of fear on steroids. There's a spirit of violence and domination. Now, what we see on the screen of life, that which we see before us, that we are watching like a movie, is not outside of us. So, whichever character you're fixated on that you think is totally evil and wrong and horrific exists within all of us, exists within the collective. There is nothing that appears out there that is not in here. And the light is also in here and everywhere present. So it's up to us to choose the frequency in which we will abide. Are we going to abide in the spirit of confusion, fear, despair, general craziness and moodiness? Oh, I can't help myself because the economy is bad. I can't help myself because this person is in office and this person didn't get in office, or I'm glad this person is in office and I can't stand the other person. Craziness. That's why we must have spiritual detachment and spiritual maturity and recognize that we and they are characters in the play called life, or students in the school of life. But as we experience all those things, as we experience all of these distractions, it is so important to commit. Commit to what? To commit to God, the God of your understanding, the presence that is never an absence, the love intelligence of the universe, called the Atman in the in the Hindu tradition, the Om frequency, Holy Spirit in Christianity, Jesus, Yeshua, Ben Joseph, Nirvana in the Buddhist tradition, El Shaddai in the Jewish tradition, Jah Rastafari in the Rastafarian tradition. The nameless one that is eternal, that is always present if we would but call upon it and devote ourselves to it. Now, this devotion can be very obvious. There are those who, my mother is at a rehab that is a nursing home and retirement home for nuns. There are about 200 elder nuns. They are lovely. There's Sister Mary Joan across the way. These women, for better or for worse, because I don't know their consciousness, have spent their lives devoted to the presence and praying for the world. They're politically aware, their intellectual talks and discussions, they are brilliant. They are brilliant women. And they are elders. They're closer to the other side than to the appearance of youthfulness. They are forever young in consciousness. They really are. They're amazing. I'm so sorry. I'm attempting to turn off my phone. Everything is happening. And I have a feeling if I put it down, Spirit is like it's doing buzz worse. Down part of it. So they have devoted themselves to the presence in the manifestation of Christ Jesus. They have devoted their lives. Do we need to go into monasteries? No. Do we need to forsake the flesh? No. We don't. You can like your food, you can like making love to your partner, you can like being on this planet. Life is like going to a Michelin star, fantastic restaurant on the Champs-Élysées. I was blessed to be at one years ago. The oldest restaurant in Paris, 7-course meal. Fantastic, exquisite. So life is like a banquet or a restaurant where you enjoy it fully, but it cannot fulfill you. That enjoyment of life cannot fulfill you. That is why I love Madonna. It's not about her music. I love her capacity as much as people want to criticize her. And there are issues too, but I love her capacity to change and recreate herself. Mm-hmm. But now I have high respect for her because she was on a podcast talking about, Madonna spoke about how she would not have success if it were not for her devotion to God. She has been a Kabbalist for 25 years. She said, I would not have success if it weren't for my relationship with God. Madonna sat across from the interviewer, Jay Shetty or something like that, and said, you can't be successful without God. Mm-hmm. She said, look at my peers who didn't have God. I said, well, what happened? They ended up in drugs. They ended up dead. They ended up destroyed. And I'm still here because of God. And I thought, I don't care if she wears hot pants in the crack of her bottom. If she can sit on social media and say, I did not have success without God because I'm simply a channel. A channel for what? Creativity. For divine creativity. And when I attempted to claim it for myself, it stopped and I became blocked. She said, I have houses around the world and I was miserable. And it wasn't until I began to practice the presence of God that life, abundant life, came through me. That is a woman in alignment. I said, now she's living her purpose. Now she's speaking the fine print. Without God, we will not be able to make it through this time on the planet. Commit to God. Now, what does that look like? Well, James in chapter 1 of the Epistle of James, he was apparently the first disciple of Jesus, the greatest guru. He says to the 12 tribes, he writes this letter, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. Can you imagine? Consider it pure joy, brothers and sisters, when you face trials. And as Jesus reminded us, in this life there will be trials and tribulations, comma, and be of good cheer. The trials and tribulations are the norm in the Shadowlands, in Earth School. They are part of it. It's part of the contract. Just assume they're going to come, and if you're not going through them, hip, hip, hooray, celebrate, be in gratitude. Be blissfully joyful, because it's part of the requirement. So consider it pure joy, brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. The assignment is perseverance. The reward is perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. Another assignment is spiritual maturity and completeness, wholeness in the midst of the trial, perseverance. The muscle, the aim, the goal. If any of you lacks wisdom, let them ask of God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. So this divine spirit that is always present, never in absence, is forever giving to us, not finding fault. That's why it's so important to know principle number 2. My essence is of God. When you abide in that frequency, in that quantum reality, you attract goodness and mercy and favor, everything good, wisdom, health, prosperity, everything good into your life. Spirit isn't finding fault. The ego will destroy you with the put downs. I'm not worthy enough. I'll never be enough. That's the ego stuff. That's not God stuff. Infinite does not find fault. We are the divine's perfect creation. Ask for it and it will be given. But ask in faith, never doubting. For the one who doubts lives like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. When you doubt this presence that is never in absence, when you doubt that it will fill your bank account, when you doubt that it will not heal your body, when you doubt that the relationship, you'll always be alone, and when you doubt and think, oh gosh, it'll never work out, you become like a wave that is tossed by the wind. This world will get in you. The spirit of confusion, the spirit of despair, the spirit of fear, the spirit of violence, the spirit of anger. People are just angry. We have it better than any of our ancestors, whether they were an indentured servant, a servant. Most women were not educated everywhere. Most people were not royalty or the aristocrats everywhere. Whether it's China, Madagascar, or Denmark, and even here in America, in indigenous cultures, there was always a caste system. Thank you, Spirit. We are growing beyond that. But that's the reality. So we've never had it this good. I don't care what your background is, what your ancestry is. Why is everybody so angry? We have more conveniences. You don't have to make your bread. You don't have to quilt your comforter. You don't have to cut out a pattern for your clothes and everybody has to make the wedding gown. You don't have to do that stuff. Whatever you want. You don't have to go to India to get Indian food or Thailand to get Thai food or pizza, Italy to get pizza. We have access to everything. This shows you that the ego is ravenous for always doubting, always being in fear, always thinking that there's not enough. That is the poison and the consciousness of the ego. You can have the world. Madonna said it. She's one of many. I had everything and I was miserable until I began to sit and devote myself and commit to God. So blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord promised to those who love him. You will receive the crown of life when you persevere through the trial. This is a frequency. This isn't a physical crown. This is the crown chakra will open and light will be pouring into your spiritual, the temple of the living God. You will reap goodness, mercy, and every good thing, prosperity, health, a sound mind. When everyone else is losing their mind, you will have peace of mind. You will have the treasures that money can't buy. Like Madonna said, money couldn't buy her peace. Money couldn't buy her joy. All her boyfriends and all the romping and the whatever couldn't buy her fulfillment until she began to practice the presence of God and commit to spirit. So, what does this letter to the 12 tribes? I love my metaphysical interpretations. We are so blessed to come from a tradition that recognizes that the Bible, the Judeo-Christian text, is, first of all, it's a frequency. It's an energetic portal. It is not what it appears to be. It is not simply words. There is esoteric knowledge in that book. It will guide you. Dr. Joseph Murphy says it will get you in trouble if you see it from its lower level, but it can get you out of trouble and prosper you if you realize it's a frequency, it's a portal, it is a key to the esoteric knowledge of the ages. And our mothers and fathers of our tradition understood this. So the 12 tribes represents the faculties of consciousness. We have the 12 powers in the unity tradition. Our thoughts, emotions, will, imagination, faith, understanding, love can become scattered. These 12 powers, these 12 faculties can become scattered by fear, worry, and outer circumstances. James calls these scattered parts of ourselves back into unity with God. Trials are not punishment. What are trials? They are opportunities for spiritual awakening. They reveal where our faith is rooted. Are you going to be like a seed that is planted on rough soil that the wind can blow around? That's why people are like losing their minds easily right now. People are out of their minds because they're allowing the world to be their God. They're allowing politics to be their God. They're allowing the financial up and down roller coaster to be their God. They're allowing these arguments that have been going on since the beginning of time, the appearance of dictators since the beginning of time, to be their focus. It's insane. If you make this insanity your focus by tuning into it constantly, that's your crazy part. You need to stop. You need to stop. So trials are not punishments. They're opportunities to embody wisdom, patience, and trust. Perseverance is the steady activity of the Christ mind. If you don't like the Jesus word or the Christ or the God word, find your word. There is a presence that is never an absent. Doesn't care what you call it. You shouldn't care what you call it. That's spiritual maturity. It is the willingness to remain centered in truth when circumstances have not yet changed. If you're still seeing the illness, if you're seeing the kid is still acting out, the bank account is not full and the bills appear to be very hard to pay right now. The life purpose isn't showing up. The partner has either passed away or isn't there. It's important to have the spiritual maturity to remain centered in truth, even though you're not seeing the results that you want. That is spiritual perseverance. Spiritual maturity comes from not avoiding difficulties, but from remaining anchored in God through them. Wisdom is divine intelligence. It's within us. When James says, ask God, he reminds us to turn inward to the indwelling presence. In unity, prayer is not persuading God to act. It is opening ourselves to wisdom that is already available. So, be doers of the word. Instead of just listening to the teachings, to the principles, that fifth unity principle, knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are just the beginning. I must also live the truth I know. That's a big call. That's a huge statement. The laws of life, called truth. That can feel heavy. How am I going to do that? Begin to declare it's easy. Begin to declare it's easy for me to persevere. It's easy for me to trust. It's easy for me to remain optimistic. It's easy for me not to be drawn into the insanity of the world. So, my beloveds, it is so essential at this time to commit to the presence of God. If Madonna, who has everything, she could run around this room with all of our finances put together, she probably has a whole lot more. And it didn't answer that deep need for peace, for wisdom, for the greatest love affair. Whomever you love, imagine that multiplied, that love multiplied by trillions of times. I love to watch near-death experiences, and there's this comedian, she drowned. It's so hysterical. She got pulled. It's awful, but she popped over to the other side. She said I always remember her. She goes, imagine your mother, imagine the best sex of your life. Imagine 30 million mothers. Imagine your best friend, your husband, all of that love, and quadruple it by trillions. No wonder nobody comes back. I didn't want to come back. Who wants to come back to here? And it makes sense. Why would you want to come back? We're all walking around doubting love. Oh, I don't know if they really love me, and they didn't show it. I got yelled at today, and my partner is snappy at me, and my mother was rude on the phone, and imagine being in a place where you know with absolute certainty that's divine love. There's a young Jewish woman, a horse fell on her, she passed away, left her body. She was born Orthodox, Jewish, never knew Jesus, never. There was this laughing young, she was a teenager, 20-something looking Jesus, and she and Jesus actually surfed throughout the universe, and he joked with her. She was like, I met this guy, he had like a white shirt on and a red thing, and I didn't know who he was. And I came back and people were like, that was Jesus. A love that is everlasting. She didn't want to come back. She was like, he was like my hangout friend. We just hung out. And he laughed at my silly jokes. She goes, my family wouldn't even laugh at my jokes. Jesus laughed at this little Jewish Orthodox girl's jokes. There is a presence in this universe. When you declare it, when you begin to live from it, you will call down the assistance of the universe. and you will be able to make it through everything. I have 3 million life applications. What do we do first? First, begin each day with God before the world to the best of your ability. 1 minute meditation, 5 minute meditations. Thank you, God. I'm alive today. You're beating my heart. It doesn't have to be complicated. If you're, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Divine One. I'm so grateful. Thank you for this home. Thank you for this wonderful bed. Begin your day with Spirit, every day with God before the world. Seek ye first the kingdom. That is what Jesus, the greatest guru, tells us. 2, let every decision reflect your highest spiritual values. When James says, if any of you lacks wisdom, ask God, that commitment means you don't ask, what do I want? We begin asking, what is the loving choice? What reflects my integrity? What serves the highest good in any situation? That's 2. 3, enjoy life. Enjoy life without replacing God. Celebrate birthdays, laugh with friends, dance, travel, build a business, fall in love over and over again. Enjoy delicious food, celebrate success. Be ambitious, be focused, go for the job, go for the money. No, it won't fulfill you. No, it's not the answer. This is a gift. No, it's a gift. Delight in God, because never confuse God's gifts with God. Okay, 4, become a doer of love every day. How can I reveal God today on the street that I live in? How can I do it in traffic? How can I listen to my friend who's a Republican, Independent, Democrat, and not lose my mind? And have compassion for them, even if I think that they're wrong and insane. How can I not be part of this argument? Detach. There's a presence beating your heart and breathing your lungs. Without it, none of it would be around. So become a doer of love. 5, trust God's process even when you can't see the outcome. Commitment means being faithful when the answers are delayed, when the healing takes time, when the doors remain closed, when the prayers are unanswered, when the heart is aching, when you feel lost. Do not mistake God's silence with God's absence. Roots are growing before the fruit appear. James reminds us that perseverance produces maturity. Stay rooted, stay committed. God is still working beneath the surface. Commit to the love affair with God. Madonna did it, and she's worth millions, and she's still having fun. But she said, what? I will leave you with one more thing. Go on the internet. It's a 4-hour interview. Oh. Listen to it piecemeal. It's worth it. What did she say? He asked her, how are your children doing? She goes, it's the teenage and the young 20. She goes, it's kind of tough for me at home. And he said, well, are they successful? She said, my children who are spiritual are more successful than my children who think it's hush. But she says, I stay quiet and I lead by example. But my children who are spiritual are more successful than my children who are not. That is us. That is them. We will be successful vibrationally. It may not show up in the Western world's idea of success, but you will look younger. You will radiate. People will say you're always not. They won't understand how you're smiling and laughing, dancing and singing through the trials. And so it is. Thank you.